Hello, hello. Tuesday. Tuesday at 3-ish. So thanks for watching me. I just got a treatment done on my face and I'm like seeing all the little creams that I have on there. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to you all about the heroine's journey, the hero's journey. If you've been following me for a while, I am a huge fan, of the heroine's journey. Because it's a women's group, I'm going to say heroine's journey instead of the hero's journey. And every you are your hero on your journey, right? Life is a journey. And then we have smaller journeys like today. Today was a journey in itself. I was like, oh, here are the obstacles and here are the allies and here are the things that are getting in the way and here are the things that are working. And so life is cyclical, right? It's not linear. And so you're constantly, there's like one big, huge soul journey that your soul chose to come down and learn about. And that is like your existential, what am I supposed to be learning about my soul in like through this life experience as the human that you came down as. And then you have different journeys, like maybe it's a trauma that you're working through, or, you know, like I said, like it was like traffic and all these little mini journeys, right? So it's like a series of concentric circles. But the theme of today's live is you understanding that you are on this journey and that there is a reason and a purpose for this journey. And Joseph Campbell is the dude who wrote all about the hero's journey, and every book, every movie, everything is based on this hero's journey. And when you start to, you know, I went to go see Wonka the other day with my girls, and I was like, oh, here's the hero and the hero's journey. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And I was able to like be like, oh, and here's his enemy and here are his allies and here's his mentor and here's his, you know, all the things. So you know, that's what I'm going to go through today is the hero's journey. And the heroine's journey is a little bit of a different spin on it. It's about really kind of going into your cave, but I'll get to that part when I get to that part. So the hero's journey is, you know, it's part of human nature. Okay. And so it happens in a series of steps. There's like the setting out piece where, you know, the hero or heroine is living their ordinary life and then shit happens. Something happens, job loss, death, marriage, you know, just a major marker, right? It's something, the call to adventure, call to action is basically something that's gonna, get you out of your comfort zone, right? Because like the hero likes to be like humans like to be in their comfort zone. They like to be comfortable. They like to be in the status quo. Nobody likes to learn and grow because the learning and the growing is painful. It's where all of the shit happens, right? Like everybody's like, oh, growth. I'm like, yeah, you want growth? It's going to be painful. Like the reward is actually kind of like the when you chill and sit back and you're kind of like a little bit in the comfort zone, or like the good, you know, like the like, oh, okay, I made it through, right? And so the ordinary life, you're in your status quo. It's cushy, it's comfortable. And then you get the call to adventure, right? Something happens, like something is a threat to that status quo. And then the third piece, but probably one of the most important parts, is that the very first thing that hero or heroine does when they get that call to adventure is resist the call. They don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. I don't want this big change to happen. It is the fear of change, okay? And so what happens is you resist the change until that change, that fear of change outweighs the comfort of the status quo, right? It's kind of like wearing shoes that are falling apart and you're like, I mean, you know, I don't know what woman doesn't really like to get a new pair of shoes, but like, bear with me, like, you know, like, and so you're resisting that call, right? And you're just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then you're like, okay, I need to do the change, because that fear is now, it's like that internal tug of like, I know I need to change, right? And hey Ruth. But again, we want to, as humans, resist fear and resist change. But then that fear of the unknown, it's like, okay, I need to change, I need to do this. And eventually it's that tipping point, right? So that you start to make the change, right? But it's never easy. We're always going to refuse it. We're always going to resist it. And that is important when it comes to growth. Like, we just don't want to do it. It's just not in our nature. And so what happens next is the heroine or hero meets a mentor. Okay, this could be a therapist, this could be a good coach, this could be a parent that's supportive, this could be your best friend. It is somebody to say, basically, you got this, I believe in you, and to be that cheerleader and to walk alongside of you. It's like Dumbledore in Harry Potter, okay, or Lenny Kravitz's character in The Hunger Games, or Obi-Wan Kenobi with Luke Skywalker, right? They all have mentors. They all had somebody to say, I believe in you, you got this, okay? We have those people too. So who are those people in your life? I'd love to hear from you. So if you are watching, talk back to me, please. I love it. I love it when people engage. Connection is like my number one strength, if you've ever taken like the strengths quiz or whatever. So who's your mentor? Right? Who's the one that's got you? Who is your cheerleader that says you got this? You know, so drop it below. And as always, if you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. It helps with algorithms, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So that person is there to teach you and to believe in you. Okay. The next step is crossing that threshold. This is when you're like, okay, I'm gonna make the change. You made the decision. You're gonna grow. You're gonna change. It is that tipping point. No matter how uncomfortable, you're gonna do it. And then you start to step on that road of change, right? And that journey. And then what happens next is that you get obstacles and tests, right? So nothing is ever easy. So the universe is essentially being like, how bad do you want this change? How bad do you want it, right? And so within those tests and obstacles lie the enemies and allies. These are the people that support you and the people that don't support you. And it's not just don't support you as the enemies, but your enemies are also on a soul level put there so that you could, again, like this is all like pre-birth planning, which is like beyond the scope of what I'm talking about today. But like it's, you know, you've set stuff up prior to you becoming who you are in this lifetime so that your soul could evolve and grow, right? And it's all about growth and evolution and enlightenment and all the things, right? And so those enemies, those toxic relationships, those unhealthy ones, the abusive ones, like when we step out of that victim and we heal that part of us, then, I mean, and this is after like deep working on yourself, which is what I help people do, is to go and say, okay, well, why did I set this up in my life, right? On a soul level. I'm not saying you're like setting it up consciously, but what did I have to learn from this experience? Like, I was in an abusive relationship from like 17 to 21. It was awful. But I'm like, what did I have to learn from this person that this person on a soul level set up also? And it was really to really love myself, to put myself first, to really learn to how to be in a healthy relationship. And so those enemies are also, when you start to kind of uncover your stuff and you're not in it, right? Then you could reflect back and be like, okay, why did this happen for me? Who is this person? And, you know, not that you need to have contact with them by any way, shape, or form, but it is something for you to think about of like, okay, this person helped me grow, but in a really fucked up, hard kind of way. All right. So they're major teachers. So all the ones that you have you are triggered by, and all the ones that have done something to you are also your greatest teachers on a crazy wisdom kind of way. All right. So then the next phase of the heroine's journey is the approach to your innermost core. Okay, that is the preparation for the deeper work. Okay, it is leaning into your fears, it's leaning into those old traumas and wounds that need healing. Okay, and this is where you are approaching that cave, okay, to slay your dragon in the traditional hero's journey. All right, which is basically conquering your fears. In the heroine's journey, it is really about going into that cave and staying there and healing in there and doing that deep internal work about being within yourself, being in that that fertile void, that new moon, that divine feminine nothingness, so that you can heal. Okay, that is essentially the difference. While you're in there, you're likely, which is the next step, is in your dark night of the soul, is what it's called, right? So it is your rock bottom. It is your on the floor crying moments, you know, the where you just are in, I want to give up. I don't want to do this, right? And then it is total surrender. And what happens in that total surrender is absolute, ultimate vulnerability. And when you're in that ultimate vulnerability is where you find your most strength. And that is the slaying of your dragon. Okay. And so again, that cave for the divine feminine, for the heroine, again, is that we're healing on that deepest level. It is that fertile void. It is the divine feminine. Okay. It is the womb of creation. And it's like I always say this, imagine yourself being nestled deep into the earth as a seed. You're just in it, right? You're in that total darkness, which is the divine feminine, which is that cave. And when you're in that womb of creation, that is where death and rebirth happens. Okay. And so, and that time cannot be rushed. It is, hi Mary, it is, when you're in that fertile void, when you're in that cave, you can't rush through it. And you have to just intuit when you are going to kind of resurface and come out of the cave. And the best way that I could explain it was right after Jack died. And I just, I remember hearing his voice very early on, and in the grief, and I heard him say, "Be in the blackness, Mom." And I was like, oh man, I'm already in it, and I just let myself be in that cave and just cried until I couldn't cry anymore. And then cried some more, because tears are healing. We have to feel all those feelings. We have to be in that cave and let ourselves surrender, because that is how we heal. And so, once you kind of allow that to happen and you intuit it, you'll know when it's time to come out. And sometimes you'll be like, okay, I'm going to go out of the cave. And then you're like, well, I'm not ready yet. Not ready for the people, not ready for activity, and so then it's maybe about just hanging out at the mouth of the cave and tending to a fire, and so it really is learning how to trust that deepest knowing that lives within ourself. And so when we allow ourselves to do that, that is, there's the reward that comes from that, right? From your vulnerability, because the flip of allowing yourself to be that vulnerable, as I said, is to be stronger, is to be braver. You're overcoming, fears. There's wisdom in there. There's transformation. And there's like, okay, I just went through the hardest thing that I've ever gone through. I now have these tools that I could carry with me for when I have another hard moment in life. And so the next phases are, one, the road back, right? So that you're now using those tools. So like, yeah, I use my tools. I haven't had a big tragedy, nothing that I couldn't get through. Like now that's like my measuring stick with Jack, being like, okay, I got through that. and we'll always be going through that, but I could get through anything. You know, COVID, I was like, breeze. Got it. Let me do all the things. And so your road back is really, you know, using all the tools that you've learned as you kind of go back home, right? And also asking yourself, because there's going to be more tests, right? There's going to be more obstacles, whether, like I said, you're getting stuck in traffic or if it's something bigger. But it is, why did this learning happen for me? Okay, why did this happen for me? What is it that I need to learn from this experience? And life is like an obstacle course, right? The obstacles are always going to be there, but you're going to be able to navigate them better. So you're going to be like, okay, well, hi, Penny. It's, oh my God, I feel like it's like an MHS reunion. But it is like you're able to navigate the obstacles more, right? So imagine you're on an obstacle course and you're gonna be like, oh, look, there's that big boulder again. Do I go over it? Do I go around it? Do I what do I do? Do I dig under it? You'll have tools to get yourself around the obstacles no matter what they are. And then the next phase is death and rebirth. And death and rebirth is the end of the old you and the rebirth of a new, more spiritually aligned, new and improved 2.0, whatever you want to call it. But you're never going to be that same person before you had this major journey, right? And so there's a constant death and rebirth of who you are and who you are becoming at all moments in time. So when we talk about like a big experience, there is I'm never going to be the same person I was before Jack died, period, end of story. Or even before that, I'm never going to be a single person without kids after I have kids, right? That single person is gone and now I'm this new person. So there's constantly this evolution of self that happens. And then the final stage of the hero and heroine's journey is returning home with the elixir. Okay. And I love this because once you've kind of slayed your dragon or gone into your cave, your healing cave, that next and final step is really sharing those tools with your people and your community. And it's about giving back. And that is a really big piece. I mean, that's why I have this group, is so I could give back and share what I've learned over the years, and almost 8 years since his passing, and just, in life, what I've learned. Right. And so, but there is something in that giving back that, gives you purpose. And so that is the hero/heroine's journey. And so I would love to hear from you. We all go through it. We're all human, right? So I would love to hear, what is one of those bigger journeys that you've gone through, or even a smaller one? Like I said, I was stuck in traffic, and I was and my puppy ate my sneakers. So, which is why I said the thing earlier about the new shoes. But I was oh, I'm going to go to my appointment and then I'm going to go get new sneakers. And then I was oh, wait a second. I posted that I was going to be here. And so then I have to it was a whole thing. And I was oh, here's a little hero's journey in itself. And I almost just got on the Facebook when I was driving, but then I figured that wasn't safe. So here I am, my own little daily hero's journey. I hope you enjoyed this. I would love to hear about your journey, so drop them below. I would also hear, where are you in a journey? Are you in a comfort zone? Are you in the death and rebirth phase? Are you in the dark night of the soul? Where are you right now? Because there's multiple. I mean, that's kind of a hard, question to answer over Facebook. But as always, I would love to hear from you, and I will see you on the flip side. Mwah!